Disclaimer. The comments made in this video are intended solely for entertainment purposes and are not intended to harm or offend anyone.
Criminals frequently believe they can outrun the law, convinced their excuses will buy them more time. But reality hits them hard when they have to stand before these tough judges. In one case, Mr. Stephen Dixon thought working 80 hours a week was a good enough reason to ignore probation, only to find out the court doesn't care about excuses.
But the question is, why didn't you report? That's the easiest thing.
I'm trying, man.
Or Mr. McVeigh, whose reckless behavior led to a clash with law enforcement.
And what do you think that you could do if you were arrested? You think that you could really get away?
I didn't. I wasn't thinking. I was being stupid.
Here are 5 moments in court where these defendants learned that the law doesn't bend for anyone. This court hearing is focused on Stephen Allen Dixon, originally placed on community supervision for possession of a controlled substance. This occurred in September 2022 with a probation term of 4 years.
All right, we're going to go on the record in 2022, CR 6340B, State of Texas versus Stephen Allen Dixon. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Daniel Escobar for the state of Texas.
Defense?
Ramon Stern for the defendant, Your Honor.
And are you Stephen Allen Dixon?
Yes.
All right. And counsel, the coordinator asked if you had filed your notice of retained counsel. When did you find it? Sal, I'm sorry, when did you file it?
I believe it was yesterday, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Dixon, this is your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Dixon, I'm showing you what's entitled motion to revoke community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you the same Stephen Allen Dixon who was placed on community supervision in 2022 CR 6340B for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 less than 1 gram, on September 29, 2022 for a term of 4 years? Is that you?
I'd like to think I'm a better guy, but yeah, that's me.
All right. I just need you to answer the questions. All right. Now is not the time for you to ingratiate yourself. I just need you to answer these questions. So is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. State.
Violated condition number 4 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Stephen Allen Dixon, who then and there failed to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of October 2022, November 2022, and December 2022 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true? Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, sentence you to 16 months in the state jail facility and a $1,200 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find violation condition number 4 true. Is there an agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for the defendant to remain in the Bexar County Jail for a drug court evaluation and a TAP evaluation and to follow all the recommendations.
All right, so here's the court's issue, and maybe someone can address this with me. When I placed him on probation in September, I had already ordered a drug court evaluation. And according to this, he's been missing, didn't show up. So number 1, well, the other number 1, there's no room for him at felony drug court because they're full. So why shouldn't he go to the state jail facility? Because the easiest thing to do is to report, and he did not.
Your Honor, my client has indicated that he made attempts to report. He got onto Zoom with his boss. He currently is gainfully employed, and they were unable to connect via Zoom. My client indicates that he did go to an in-person. The door was locked. I spoke with the state, and we've come to the understanding that maybe he should come here if he was under.
Well, no, I mean, he's been missing since October of 2022. So that's October, he didn't report. November, he didn't report. December, he didn't report. January, he didn't report. February, he didn't report. March, he didn't report. April, he didn't report. May, he didn't report. June, he didn't report. And here we are in July, and I believe the only reason he's here before me is because he was arrested. Did he get arrested reporting, or did somebody find him on the warrant and bring him in?
I believe it was found him on the warrant.
So felony drug court is not available for him. Why shouldn't he be revoked? He didn't report. That's it. That's the easiest thing to do, is to report.
Your Honor, you had told me.
You want to raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Stephen Dixon.
All right. Do you wish for your client to speak?
Really want to speak? It's from what I got.
Go ahead.
The last time I was in here, I took your words to heed. You told me that I was getting old and there was never going to be a time for me to turn around if I didn't turn around. I had to cut a lot of needless people out of my life, and I did that. I moved from the apartment I was just because there was drugs in that neighborhood. I moved to an apartment closer to my job. I cut all the people out of my life. I quit heroin on my own. I see my son for 2 weeks. I haven't seen my son in over 10 years, but he knew I was sober. I'm trying, man.
But the question is, why didn't you report?
I
That's
got
the
so
easiest
lost
thing.
in the whole mix of everything. You know, I work 80 something hours a week. I work 82 hours a week.
Oh, so you can't, here's the
And I
thing,
tried hard at first.
but let me just tell you this. Guess what?
It's my
When
fault.
people who are on probation
Yes, ma'am.
say, oh, I've got my life together, you still have to report. Otherwise, you're not on probation. Otherwise, it would be easy for everybody to do on probation. Let me take your probation, judge. I know I'm supposed to report to probation, but you know what? I'm living my life doing my own thing. I'm just not going to pick up any criminal cases. So I don't know what you all want me to do. Felony drug court is not available for him because they have no room for him at felony drug court. So either way, you're going into custody. If I decide to put you in inpatient treatment, you're going in custody. You're going to wait for a bed at the jail because felony drug court is not available for you. Probation?
Your Honor, felony, as you stated a couple of times, I do know that felony drug court is at capacity. We would like to do the tap in custody to see which facility will be best suited for him and for him to sign his original conditions of probation.
Okay. And I understand that's what probation wants, but I don't understand why he should not be revoked. And what's up with, is that a Spurs tattoo?
No.
Okay. You shouldn't hide it if it's not a Spurs tattoo because that makes me think things.
No.
Okay.
I'm originally from Oklahoma, man.
All right. So why shouldn't I send him to the state jail facility?
Your Honor,
And I know everybody is saying he didn't have a chance, but he didn't have a chance because he didn't report.
Your Honor, if we could give him, and I know this is an old way of saying it, is another chance. So that way, and I would be there along the way to make sure that he reports, to make sure that he does what he needs to do.
Probation.
Your Honor, I agree that Mr. Dixon had ample time to report. He knows, I mean, he was granted back in September. He could have come to the court at any time and you know that we would have taken care of him. I'm not quite sure what the issues are, or drug issues or so forth. You look at his previous criminal history.
And see, my problem is he has done absolutely nothing, zero. And if he would not have been arrested, he would still be out there not reporting. All right. Is there anything else?
Your Honor, my client is willing to submit to hair follicle testing right now to show that he hasn't been using UA right now to show he hasn't been using. He's willing to do that and to demonstrate that he is trying to stay on at least that part of the line. Again, as I indicated, I would be his retained counsel to tell him, you know, and guide him through the process of reporting.
All right. My problem is, again, he has done nothing and there's no excuse for not doing anything. All right. This is what the court is going to do. Court is going to grant the motion, sentence you to 6 months in the state jail facility, give you credit for any time served. I'll suggest the therapeutic community. There's a $1,200 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
All right. You have a limited right to appeal, and that is as it relates to the allegation in the motion, not the fact that you were on probation. We can go off the record. Mr. Dixon, I understand what you're saying. However, the easiest thing to do on probation is report. Whether I would have sentenced you or not, you were still going to be in custody. Once you go to the state jail facility, I suggest you ask them to place you in the therapeutic community. And when you are released from the state jail facility, do better. All right. Thank you.
From Stephen, who waited until he got arrested, to Kenneth Kim, who went as far as evading his arrest after violating probation rules, do these criminals really think they can easily run away from the law?
Who's here on Kenneth Kim?
I am, Your Honor, James Sealaw.
All right, the court is calling 2021. Mr. Kim, come down. Court is calling 2021 CR 11285 and 2021 CR 11285, State of Texas versus Kenneth Sung-Gun Kim. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hank Wilkins for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
James Sealaw for the defense.
And are you Kenneth Sung-Gun Kim?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. And First Amendment motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Are you the same Kenneth Sung Gung Kim who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2021 CR 11285 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1 gram to 4 grams on February 22nd, 2022 for a period of 4 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state.
Violated condition number 1, on or about the 17th day of May, 2023 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant, Kenneth Sung-Goon Kim, committed the offense of evading arrest or detention in violation of condition number 1.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
And Your Honor, we waive and abandon the other violations.
No objection.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 1, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, and sentence you up to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 1?
Yes, I do.
Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. Is there an agreement?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. We're asking the court to deny the motion and to follow probation's recommendation of the cognitive track local ISF followed by ISP supervision.
That's our understanding, Your Honor.
All right, what has he done on probation? You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear, affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand. State your name for the record.
Stan Kim.
All right. And what have you done since you've been on probation?
I've gotten a job immediately. I've been reporting until I didn't. I paid the fines.
Wait a minute, let's backtrack. You said you've been reporting until you didn't?
Well, until the violation, a couple of months.
Okay.
I was paying the fines best I could, and to be honest, Your Honor, I'm not gonna lie to you. I let the things stress me out, build up on me. I know it's not an excuse. I had fighting with my baby mother, with my kids.
You mean the mother of your child?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. And being in trouble and being separated from them because I used to live with them prior to the jailing and before I got out. She had found someone else and kicked me out, and it was really hard for me to maintain a place to have stability. And I was just trying to focus on that more than keeping my job and paying the bills or the fines. And I had no phone, and I was just letting things pile up and stress me out. And it got the best of me. And I know it's not an excuse, and I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he has twins, and he has assured me that he does want to get employment and get back on life. He's 32 years old, and he's got a twin boy and girl, 5 years old. And we're asking that we continue with this intensive supervisory. And I think he's going to quit the drugs completely and turn his life around, if given the chance.
Probation?
Your Honor, the last report of direct contact was 12/20/2022. There was a telephone call or a voicemail received from the probationer on 1/9/23, stating that he was still working on registering for his VIPP and would call Fort Sam Cemetery in regards to his community service hours. The VIPP course at this time has not been completed, and his community service hours has not been completed. He did pay a total of $300 toward his assessed fines of $3,276, and is currently behind $925. He failed to submit the required UAs in August, September, and December of 2022.
All right, it appears you've done nothing on probation. Why should I don't want to say nothing. You've only done, if we were talking about numbers from 1 to 10, you're at number 1. Why haven't you completed the BIPP course?
Your Honor, I was like 22 classes out of 25 classes in, and I didn't show up for the third time. It was hard for me to find a ride. That's when the things started getting escalated.
That's what Via Bus is for. Why do people have a problem with Via Bus? It's inexpensive. It gets you from point A to point B.
You're right, Your Honor. That was around the time when the stress escalated in my life with other unrelated things that I shouldn't have let got in my way.
What other unrelated things?
The fighting with my baby mother and
The mother of your
the
child.
mother of my children.
And maybe it's a good thing that she doesn't have you in your life because you have these criminal charges and they're drug charges.
Yes, ma'am. I was working really hard to make sure that it wouldn't be on my record, and I was really upset about the fact that I didn't complete my stuff. And when I realized that that was not going to be basically valid anymore, and I knew that the warrant had came out for my arrest, I just didn't.
You just ran.
I didn't care to come back and tell you or to fix it. I just let it go on until I got caught, and that was my biggest mistake too. And I'm very sorry for that, Your Honor. I'm begging for another chance.
Mr. Seeloff?
Just want to reiterate, Your Honor, his young age is 32. He appears to have beaten the drugs, and he wants just another chance, Your Honor, and keep it off his record so he can continue on for his twins.
Does he have an updated tab?
When's the last tap you have?
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Court will find violation of condition number 1 true. The court will deny the motion. Alternate amend conditions to include a TAP evaluation while in custody. Follow TAP recommendations. If TAP recommends inpatient treatment, then he's going to be in inpatient treatment. If they recommend outpatient treatment, then he's going to go to ISF cognitive and substantive. Upon release, he's to do the UA hotline until further notice and parenting classes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Probation, is there anything else?
Okay, so for outpatient, you stated ISF substance and cognitive. So instead of the local bare ISF, you want them to go to state?
Yes.
And can you repeat what you said after that?
Okay, so what I want to do is I want him to have a TAP evaluation while in custody. If the TAP evaluation recommends outpatient treatment, I want him to start with ISF cognitive and substantive. Then after being released from that, I'm going to want the UA hotline until further notice and parenting classes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anything else you need from the court?
No.
From here on out, every decision that you make, there are 2 questions you should ask. 1, will this potentially result in me going to prison for 10 years? If the answer is yes, don't do it. The second question you should ask yourself, is it possible or will this maybe result in me going to prison for 10 years? If the answer to that question is yes, don't do it. You understand?
Yes.
Your attorney will tell you, I do not take any pleasure in sending people to prison, but if it's warranted, I will. And if that happens in your case, guess what? You will go to prison and we will move on to the next person. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So do not come back here begging me to give you another chance because this is your chance.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And if you have the mother of your children who does not want you in her life, which it appears to me on paper that it is justified, you need to stop trying to contact her. If you want to see your children, go next door to civil court and get a custody agreement. And guess what? When somebody leaves you, they have every right to pick up with somebody else. Nobody has to wait for you while you're at prison or at the county jail or on probation. This is not a Lifetime movie. This is not a love story. In the real world, when you're away and you're not stepping up to your responsibilities, people can leave you, and they do, and they move on to somebody else. You understand?
Fully agree. Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
While Kim might have evaded arrest, here's another man with an even more desperate story. Carl Lockard, caught with meth just days after his son's birth.
All right, we're still on the long record. I never stopped it in between. It's going to be messy for the reporter. But Mr. Lockhart, this is Judge Middleton. I'm here at the court. Your lawyer, Mr. Paul Gibson, is here with me in the courtroom. You were pulled over by the Three Rivers Police on September 30th and charged with possession of methamphetamine. That is a felony. It's punishable by up to 10 years imprisonment and a fine of up to $15,000. Also present is Stoney Summy, the county VA advocate, who's aware of your case, and he was aware earlier. You've been on 3 probations or 2 on some earlier cases with Judge Pattison. At any rate, this matter is set for a pre-exam conference on October 15th. The prosecutor made an offer to reduce this to use of methamphetamine, which is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. Mr. Gibson thought, in light of the fact that they were willing to reduce this to a misdemeanor, he thought he would see whether you were willing to do that. We could take the plea here this morning. Mr. Lockhart, are you gonna plead to the misdemeanor charge of use of methamphetamine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anybody threaten you to get you to plead to that charge
No, Your Honor.
or promise you anything?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I was looking at the facts here. You got pulled over by the police. This is like, I don't care. You're driving a truck with no license plate on it, no registration, no insurance. So they pulled you over and they found a syringe and about 9 grams of methamphetamine. Is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
All right, tell me what happened.
There's nowhere near 9 grams of methamphetamine. I've never possessed that much in my entire life.
Well, maybe it included the weight of the packaging.
It was in a wooden box, that's possible. It was a chunk about the size of a marble. There's nowhere near 9 grams, Your Honor.
All right, well, yeah, they called it a chunk. Anyways, you had some methamphetamine in your possession, and had you used some?
Yes, Your Honor.
So that was just 5 days ago. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, Your Honor. I just really want to get out. I just had a son a couple days ago, and I just need to get clean so I can be better.
Yeah, I agree with that. The way to get clean isn't to just walk out on the street. The suspected methamphetamine field positive and had an approximate weight of 9.2 grams. When was your son born?
He was born approximately 14 days ago. No, 15 days. If today is the
You're
4th.
in rough shape. So 10 days after your son's born, you're driving around with a car with no plate on it, shooting up meth. All right, now you were on a probation and then you got arrested for a drinking driving charge. And Judge Pattison gave you 91 days in jail at the probation center. And you got out of that. And apparently, unfortunately, you swapped alcohol for methamphetamine. Now, you had a warrant also in Paw Paw. What happened to that?
I had a warrant, Your Honor?
You had a fail to appear warrant out of Van Buren County.
I don't believe that was mine, Your Honor. I believe that was my passenger.
Oh, she had, your passenger had it. Okay. Stony Summy is here, our veteran advocate. And Stony, have you got an idea for place? Why don't you come up and have a seat at the table here? Are you searching for a placement for him?
I have a placement for him. He actually has been in our veteran program for about 3 weeks. And
where is it?
Three Rivers.
Well, he ain't doing very good. While he's in the middle of your program, he's driving around with a syringe and a large quantity of methamphetamine. So where is it, a residential thing or just a treatment program?
It's residential. It's county owned veteran house.
One of those that duplex?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, but treatment wise or otherwise, you have something for him?
Yeah, he was supposed to start last Monday. We had an appointment in my office at 8 o'clock Monday morning, but he had got picked up the day before. We were going to work on getting his truck legal, and he was going to start his alcohol and substance abuse treatment with Lisa Velez that same morning.
All right. So they've got a place for you to go. They've got treatment set up for you. They've got attempt to get your truck straight, but 5 days in jail isn't enough time for you to get your head squared away. If I let you out of jail right now, you're going to get high tonight.
I swear to God, I won't, Your Honor. I swear to God.
Well, you say that, but you can't, you don't have control of it. So I've got a couple options. Judge Pattison you were out of several probations, which failed. You got arrested for drunk driving while you were on the probation. And Judge Pattison didn't put you on another probation. He put you at Twin County Probation Center, which was a pretty good option. Who lives at Rock River Avenue?
It was my house, Your Honor.
Did you lose it?
Yes, Your Honor. That's why Stoney is helping me with that place.
All right, well, I'm all for that. Where's your son?
He's with his mother. I'm going to be going through the DHS trying to get paternity and parenting time as soon as all this is resolved. But I plan on doing.
And what town is he in?
Vicksburg. And my daughter's in Jones.
Stoney, how long can you hold this apartment for him?
I don't really have a time frame, and he's already in it, so.
Oh, okay, he's already in it.
Yeah.
All right, good. That was a nice little project. The Home Depot helped you refurbish that, and you took a dilapidated little place and turned it into a nice duplex for veterans. I drive past it all the time. Yeah, good work there.
The gentleman
I don't know what
next
to
door-
do with you, Mr. Lockhart. I can either just give you some jail now, or I can get more information. I'd also like to talk to Matt Huff, who was your previous probation officer and spent a lot of time on you. Judge Pattison handled your case, and again, he's not here today. So I'm not gonna do the sentence. I thought about just giving you 30 days and turning you loose. I'm gonna set this for sentence. I'm gonna get the whole police report. I'm gonna talk to you. Your Lisa's not going anywhere. You could start Monday, or you could start a couple Mondays from now. But right now, I think you need a couple things. I think I need more information, and you need some more clean time. This wasn't even set until the 15th through the good offices of your lawyer. It got moved out, but I'm not.
They're gonna give me a job, Your Honor.
Okay, well, it'll still be there.
Please just let me get out of here, please.
Okay.
I know, I'll figure out who was not gonna be here.
Stop, Mr. Lockhart. This isn't helping any, and it also indicates why you still need to be in jail for a little bit longer. You're not doing very well. You're only 4 days out from a
It's nothing to
meth
do with the
crash.
drugs. Please, Your Honor.
Please.
Matt will tell you I need to be on probation. I need the overhead, and I do just fine. Because
I will work on that.
He's a good man.
Yeah, and he said you were one of the most honest probationers he ever had. So that's a plus, but you ain't doing too good.
Just gotta get out of here, Your Honor. I'll go straight to rehab if that's what you want. I just swear to God, I just don't want to be here.
Paul, are you available next Wednesday, October 9th? Oh, I got a PPO. I'm gonna set sentence for next Wednesday, October 9th. At 11, I'm gonna cram it in there. I have a PPO earlier. Hopefully it'll be done by then. Mr. Lockhart, you need a few days to get oriented.
Anything,
And
Your
I'm
Honor.
going to get the full police report. I need to talk to Matt Huff.
Please, I'm begging you, just let me get out of here. Please.
All right, sir. I know you want to get out of jail. Everybody does. And I'm not sure how much of this is PTSD and how much of it is methamphetamine. We'll see how you're doing next Wednesday. The bond is canceled.
This fourth case is wild. Imagine a woman claiming she doesn't have an active phone as her reason for missing court. Alicia Bone was in court for a bond forfeiture hearing due to her failure to appear on two separate occasions, March 29th, 2024 and August 2nd, 2024. The state had filed a motion for bond forfeiture because of her repeated absences from court, which led to an active warrant for her arrest.
All right. We are on the record in the 13th Judicial District, the District Court of Greenwood, County, Kansas. This is in case number 2023 CR 300021, State of Kansas versus Alicia Wynn Bone. County Attorney Jill Gillette appearing for the state. Attorney Chris Ambrose appearing for the defendant, who also appears in person at the Greenwood County Courthouse. Are there any bondsmen here as this matter does come on for bond forfeiture hearing? All right, and state your name for the record, please.
Why
don't you come on up, sir? I'm not gonna be able to hear you back there.
Tom Taylor with A. Bell, Your Honor.
I still didn't hear you. You'll need to get right in front of that microphone. What's your name?
Thomas Taylor with A. Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. All right, this matter, as I said, does come on for hearing on the state's motion for forfeiture of the bond due to the defendant's failure to appear. She's failed to appear a couple of times, March 29th, 2024 and August 2nd, 2024. It looks like Mr. Thomas, you do have her here today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Gillette, how does the state wish to proceed on its motion to forfeit?
Since the bondsman's brought her in and turned her in, we'll withdraw the motion for forfeiture, but we'd like her taken into custody. The bond is currently set at $30,000 cash or professional surety.
Mr. Ambrose, anything you want to be heard on?
Well, Your Honor, I have not heard from Miss Bone. However, as a matter of course, we would object to her being placed into custody. I believe that based on what I'm seeing here, it looks like we need to get a preliminary hearing set on this regardless. Miss Bone might be able to provide us some insight as to where she's been and what her plans are to make sure she's going to get back to court in case the court was to provide her an alternative.
Ms. Bone, why haven't you been in front of this court since March?
I had not had transportation, and the first court date that I missed was actually because I was sick. I was in the hospital, and the second time was due to the transportation, and I have not had transportation for over a month, and I do not have an active phone. It's been almost a month that I have not had an active phone. I am in the process of getting an active phone.
So you knew you had court on those 2 days, you just didn't make it in?
The second one, I didn't know what day it was, but I thought it was actually September 1st is what I thought it was. And I was going to find transportation to get there. I had asked my mom, but I was not able to. I was unaware of the day. I had put it down wrong.
Where do you live?
Your Honor.
Just a moment. Where do you live? No, ma'am, answer my question. Where do you live?
In Iola.
I'm sorry?
Iola, Kansas.
You live in Iola with your mom?
No.
On your own?
Yes.
How far do you live from your mom?
She lives in Chanute.
So you were able to call your mom and talk about your case, but you weren't able to call the court or your attorney.
I had used someone else's phone.
But you couldn't use someone else's phone to call the court or your attorney.
They would not let me. They ended up leaving.
Oh, they'd let you call mom, but not the court or your attorney. What's
Yeah.
this person's name?
They were a person I ran into at the gas station. I had met them like once. All I know is her first name, but she didn't. Apparently, she wasn't staying in that town, but she.
So somebody rolled into town to the gas station, you saw them and you asked to use their phone.
Yeah, and I was like, I need to call my mom for a ride for court, and I need to call my attorney. And she was like, okay. And she let me call my mom first. because I told her that would be the first call to do. And then she got mad at me when I was almost off the phone with my mom and tried to take the phone. And she hung up the phone on my mom and then took it and walked off.
And you couldn't ask your mom to call your lawyer or the court?
I was in the process of asking her. I had started to ask her. I was like, hey, can you call my attorney? And I did not get to tell her the name before she literally jerked the phone. My mom does not know my attorney's name.
And your mom doesn't know how to call the court. Okay.
She didn't know which county it was either. She was confused on the county.
And you had no way of calling your bondsman?
No, I had not.
And there was not a soul in Iola that would let you use their phone, besides this woman that had come into town unknown to you?
Yeah, I had asked a couple friends the day after, but none of them had active phones.
All right.
I don't have a lot of friends.
Stop. Thank you. All right. Now if I can get the bondsman to come back up and tell me what he was wanting to say.
Once I made contact with her that the forfeiture hearing was in place, and I know I've spoken this to you before, that I tell them we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And if they stay in contact with me and till the time comes, then we will get her over here. And I didn't have to put her in handcuffs or any of that stuff. She voluntarily came today. I just wanted to make sure you knew that part of it. It wasn't a hunting her down and bringing her in, Your Honor.
She voluntarily came today, but she didn't come the last 2 times.
Right. Well, like I said, I was just adding my point that she did voluntarily come with me and she did stay in contact with me once I let her know there was a forfeiture and that we needed to bring her over for that court date. And so she did.
And when was that?
I couldn't tell you the exact date. It's been 30 days probably that when I got it. And like I said, I contacted her and let her know what the date was. And you know, like I said, I usually tell them if I can make contact with them and they're receptive to that and we can get them in here and they'll walk in with them, then I'm okay with that versus having to put them in handcuffs and take them to jail. And they stayed in contact with me and actually reminded me last night of the court date today. So they were helpful that way. She was helpful.
She told you last night what her court date was?
Right. She reminded me. Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Taylor, what troubles me, besides the obvious defendant not appearing, is that the post office says they delivered notice to you of this hearing in Chanute, Kansas, August 19th, 2024 at 10:26 a.m. And you're just now getting her to me, and yet you said she's been in contact with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you don't surrender them until I don't understand why you didn't turn her in before now.
When you give us the court date that I have to present them on that day, if I can make contact with them and they're working jobs and they're trying to continue their life and do it right, and they'll follow that, I get them in here for that new court date.
Well, I see that as potentially aiding a felon, or when you know that they've got an active warrant and you don't turn them in. I have a real problem with that. And you've known since August 19th she had an active warrant, and you chose to wait until today to turn her in. So that's very troubling to me. So, Ms. Gillette, again, at this time, you're wanting to set aside the motion to forfeit the bond?
Yes, usually when they do bring them in by the court date, I agree that she should have been brought in earlier. Waiting till the last minute's not appropriate when they have an outstanding bond and warrant on them. This is her second warrant for failure to appear. It's not that hard to dial in from Zoom. If you can't Zoom from here, the bondsmen will make sure to help you. Her prior bondsman was Don Kirkman. You get a hold of your bondsman and say, hey, I don't have a way to court, or I don't have a way to Zoom. They'll get you zoomed in. She didn't do that. In fact, she didn't contact her attorney. She hasn't been in contact with anyone. And we haven't had a current phone number or address up here at the court for her. It's important that you contact the court when we give you a hearing date and you're here and you get that hearing time. It is not hard to Zoom. Yesterday, Judge Ricky made the comment. I thank you, sir, for Zooming in from Arizona when we have people that are 2 blocks from the courthouse that can't Zoom. These are Zoom hearings where she could have been on television and not had to be brought to the courthouse. At this point, I am asking her to be taken into custody on her 30,000 cash or professional surety bond. She needs to make a bond. She needs to understand her bondsman should be her best friend and they are responsible for getting her to court.
Well, it sounds like he has been. He's kept her out and kept her doing whatever it is she wanted to do for the last 2 months.
Yeah, well, he didn't on August 2nd, and her hearing wasn't in September, it was in August. And so I would ask for the bench warrant to be served, her to be taken into custody, and her to need to post a new bond.
Mr. Thomas, Thomas
Taylor.
Taylor.
Taylor. Yes,
Mr. Taylor, at this time, I am not going to make you pay the 15,000 because she is here today. But a word of caution, I am not in the practice of letting people tell other people, hey, you've got a warrant, but don't turn yourself in right now. You can hold this off for 2 months. That's not the way it works. You don't tell a person they have a warrant to help them stay out of jail. That's illegal. You tell people they have a
warrant and they can turn themselves in, but I have a forfeiture date on this, and that way you're on.
Sir, it is not an option when they have a warrant for them to decide when they're going to turn themselves in. It's not your position to decide how long you're going to give them before they come to court. You know, we trust bondsmen, and if we can't trust the bondsmen to do what they say they're going to do, then we can't have them as bondsmen. All right, this time, I am not going to forfeit the 15,000 to make you put it up, but I am ordering that she be taken into custody. So there better be a deputy there that takes her into custody, and her new bond is set at 30,000 as previously ordered. She started out at a lower bond. She did this with Kirkman, but they, I think, got her in here a little quicker. And now she's done it with you. What's she been doing for the last 2 months, Mr. Thomas? Mr. Taylor, I'm sorry.
Taking
Know
care
what
of
she's been up to, what she's been doing.
Well, she's been in the Iola house up there with her kids, working, I believe.
You believe?
Well, I mean, she's been making contact. I wasn't asking her everything that she did. I was making sure that she's taking in contact with me at the house.
But do you see, you're not the one she's supposed to just make contact with.
I understand, Your Honor.
All right. So you may go, and she needs to come back up here. You may go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Taylor. Miss Bone, I'm ordering that you be taken into custody for your multiple failures to appear. I will let your new bond of 30,000 stand, although I'm tempted to say no bond, just hold you until we resolve this, because maybe your bondsman and you've got a relationship where he can trust that you're where you're supposed to be, but you and I don't have that relationship. So is there a deputy there to come and get her? And Miss Gillette, shall we set a new hearing? And like her attorney said, I think she skipped out last on her preliminary hearing. Do we want an evidentiary hearing, Mr. Ambrose?
I think that's probably what we need to be set, especially considering she's going to be in custody.
All right.
Probably the appropriate thing
Well,
to do.
she might make her 30,000. Mr. Taylor may want to post it again. All right, Missy.
I have October 15th available at 9 or 10.
Any preference, Mr. Ambrose?
I can make 10 work. Well, sorry, can I have 1 second to check my hearing? This week's calendar hasn't been updated. We haven't updated from this week's hearings. So let me make sure I didn't schedule anything there. If I could have just a second, Your
Okay,
Honor.
Miss Bone, who are you talking to there? I'm sorry? I can't hear you.
Talking to Thomas.
Well, I'm not sure I'm going to trust Mr. Thomas Taylor to, I'm not sure I'm going to trust him to make your bond again. Because he let you out for 60 days. He didn't get you here to court on time. He didn't get you here to court when he said he would. And he let you go for 60 days. So I think if you want to post a $30,000 bond, you better get a different bondsman.
In Your Honor, October 15th at 10 a.m. would be preferred if that's acceptable.
That's acceptable for me. How about you, Ms. Gillette?
That's fine with the state.
All right. That'll be the order of the court. Maybe we need to review our list of bondsmen. Maybe they need to understand what their roles are as bondsmen. But this is totally unacceptable. With that said, we are in recess. Deputies, make sure you take this young lady into custody.
Finally, this last case here is outrageous. Mr. McVeigh found himself in serious trouble after his reckless behavior of hitting an officer with an ATV, which ended in a felony charge. And, as usual, they all have an excuse to give.
Mr. McVeigh, what do you want me to know? What do you want to tell me? What the heck were you thinking is what I want to know. That's what I want to know. What were you thinking?
I wasn't in my right mind. I wasn't thinking. I made terrible choice and I regret it terribly. And I remember being in here talking to you before, and that's extremely embarrassing. And I'm really sorry.
This is going to carry you. It's going to follow you around. Now, you have a felony now, Mr. McVeigh. What were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking about what could happen. I wasn't.
In how this played out, in how there was the accusation by, of all people, Mr. Hooverson, do you think he's credible? Do you think he is credible where anyone would believe that you hit him with your ATV?
I don't know. I got scared.
And you weren't using that very smart brain in your head, Mr. McVeigh. And now you are a convicted felon when Mr. Hooverson is now scot-free.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
You shouldn't apologize to me. You need to apologize to yourself. I mean, you're going to be harder on yourself right now, but you need to apologize to each and every one of these officers because your behavior that day was despicable, disrespectful. It was so...
They didn't deserve.
They did not deserve it. And what do you think that you could do if you were arrested? You think that you could really get away?
I didn't. I wasn't thinking. I was being stupid.
You are such a nice young man. Quite honestly, I expect more from you. Where is the young man who said, I can't remember where you said Montana, that you were going to go and you wanted to do something else and you have a desire. I know you said that you had a desire to cook and to do something great. Why the heck are you still hanging around here? Don't hang around your mom. Leave her alone. All right? Your mom can take care of herself because now, unfortunately, like Mr. Keene said, you are at the age that you can't get this expunged unless the legislature changes the law, which unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I think they should with certain things. Like sometimes people are dumb. Sometimes young men's brains don't form until they are, I mean, they say 25. I'm going to tell you, I don't believe that for a minute. And what the heck is this allegations of THC? Not legal here in any way, shape, or form. So, Mr. McVeigh, I don't think I need to tell you. I think no matter what I say, you're going to be harder on yourself. Now, I want to hear what you think you should tell all of the officers, because I think this involved 4 officers.
Yes, there's a number of officers, and Gavin Anton was the one that got struck in the face.
Yeah, so
Gavin really deserves an apology.
There was Bridget Getz, Anthony Olson, Tanner Pardoon, Austin Spafford, Gavin Anton.
So there's, did I count? Was that 6 or 5?
5.
5.
They're actually really nice people. And if it was any other, if I hadn't have been in the mindset I was in, that never would have. I owe them a deep apology because they didn't deserve any of that. And
they don't put on the uniform so they can get harassed and beat up and put their lives on the line.
They were just trying to help. And I panicked. I got scared.
So now I'm in the spot where I have to say, okay, what's the punishment for Mr. McVeigh? Because this is serious. And I don't think anyone in this room doesn't think that this is serious. You know that this is serious.
I know.
This is you could go to prison today serious. Now, if you had an extensive criminal history and you had other felonies on your criminal record, most likely you'd be going to prison today. But lucky for you, you're a good kid who did something really stupid, who wasn't thinking, who for whatever reason thought people would believe something Christopher Hooverson said, that you hit him with your ATV.
Our neighbor, he was our neighbor.
All right. So you have a lot of making up to do, Mr. McVeigh, a lot of making up to do. And now it's gonna be a while before you can get back on track, which is unfortunate.
I just want to do whatever I can to make it right.
The thing is I don't think you're a risk to the community. I just think you were just being very stupid that day. And stupid is just the only word that I can think of. You just were not thinking. And as Mr. Renicky said, it's not the alcohol. You were not belligerently drunk.
It's just being stupid.
And I can't say that you were high. I can't, because I don't have any other lab results, anything to say that you were, and there's THC here. I can't say that there's anything that sent you in some psychosis. So I do think probation is appropriate, because you have some amends to do. All right. You have some amends to do. I honestly don't really believe that 2 years, I think that could be a little bit too long. I don't know if you have some mental health issues to take care of.
I can make sure I'm seeing a counselor just to make sure, and just cover my bases and make sure I'm staying healthy and staying clean.
You know, what I want you to do, Mr. McVeigh, is I want you to do what you told me, what was it, a year ago? I want you to get back to school. I want you to build your education. I want you to build your career. I want you to make something of yourself, because I truly think that you could be something better than this. And the great thing is that even though you are now a convicted felon, this isn't going to define you. It will not break you, or it doesn't make you. All right. It's just going to be a little hiccup in the road. You'll be able to get over that. It's going to be a little bit more work, but you can do it. All right. But you got to put in the work, and you got to do it. You have to do it. I want to see you do that. 1 year of probation. If you're revoked, this is serious. I think a year seems like a lot, but this is serious. You punched an officer in the face. So I agree with the 1 year of incarceration if you're revoked, because, man, the officers did not deserve that treatment, that behavior at all, not one bit. And I'm not going to order it. because quite honestly, it doesn't mean anything if the court orders it, but it wouldn't be such a bad thing if you were to write from the heart some apology letters to every single one of those officers, every single one from the heart, because you want to know what they put up with a lot. One year of probation, 1 year of jail imposed and stayed. Conditions of probation. Absolute sobriety. No alcohol. No bars. No taverns. No casinos. Unless you work at one. And only for work purposes. No use or possession of illegal drugs, substances, or paraphernalia. Wisconsin is zero tolerance state. No medical marijuana. So you want to use it, you got to go somewhere else. I'm also going to order gainful employment. I'm going to order you look into some type of higher education, certificate service, technical college, some kind of something that to increase your learning, your skills, your profession, whatever it is that you want to do to enhance your life, because you're better than that. Don't get stuck, Mr. McVeigh. No contact with Christopher Hooverson. I'm ordering your DNA. You have to provide that to the jail. Go to probation. I'm going to give you until 4 p.m. tomorrow because I'm not sure if you're going to be able to get there before close today. You have 20 days to appeal. Should you fail to appeal within 20 days, you lose that right. $1,087.50 for the OWI, plus a $10 blood draw fee, $402.50 for the felony. I'll waive all other costs and fees because you have $1,500 posted. It covers everything. I'm waiving the rest of the costs and fees. So at least you have me off your back. And now you just have to deal with probation.
Thank you, Your Honor. I couldn't put it into words how much I appreciate you and just what you say, because it means a lot.
I yell at you mostly.
It means a lot because you see more in me than even I do. So thank you.
Prove me right.
I think there was the 6-month driver's license revocation.
Oh, yes, 6-month driver's license revocation, 6 points off your driver's license, OWI assessment and driver safety plan. Get those done. All right. Good luck, Mr. McVeigh.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else that I'm missing?
I don't think so.
Nothing here, Your Honor.
Was there a firearm warning?
Oh, no use or possession of a firearm now for life. No voting in any election until your civil rights are restored. All right. I think that's it. Thank you.
So is bond, the bond that you have to go from, that
Covers everything.
okay.